about how to do this and what I think I've learned and how I think it's gone. I've only got just a couple years of teaching, but I spent more than 10 years of my career really mentoring people, and so I kind of feel like I actually have a lot more experience than it looks like on paper. And I've also, if I may say, I'm pretty good at it. I've got very, very high ratings so far in my teaching, so I feel like, okay, something is working here. But at the same time, I kind of feel like this a lot of the time. I spent a lot of time in the commercial industry. Now I'm kind of going toward the academy, and I hope I don't fall because it looks really, really painful. But I also think that this puts me in a really kind of unique and advantageous position. So when you talk about learning craft, there are two basic models of learning, and the first one would be apprenticeship. And apprenticeship, of course, is how I learned the craft. There was simply no way to go to school for game design when I decided I wanted to be a game designer. So with me, this was my primary mentor, a guy named Mark Cerny. Mark and I worked together for more than 10 years. He's now best known as the primary architect of the PlayStation 4. But he had done a lot of things before that, and Mark actually had a mentor. It was this man, Yuji Naka. Yuji Naka is the creator of Sonic the Hedgehog. So that's this. It turns out I have 2 degrees of separation from Sonic the Hedgehog, which is kind of nice. That's this sort of pedigree that we have. Mark always wanted me to call him Sensei. I never did, and I probably never will. My students call me Sensei. I'm really competitive. And then just to kind of go the other direction, so I had the opportunity to mentor a lot of people, but one of those people who's kind of a nice example is this guy, Brian Algar. Brian is the creative director at Insomniac. And I encourage you to go out and buy Ratchet & Clank, the new game that came out today, which was one of, I think it's kind of Brian's pièce de résistance, and the movie's coming out in a few days as well. So this is kind of elaborate pedigree of apprenticeship, and this is how we've done it, right? This is how we've learned to make video games historically. But then I let all of them go away because I wanted to do higher education. And this is a pretty popular idea. This is from October the 15th. This was published by the ESA, which is the Entertainment Software Association. There are 406 counted higher education programs in video game development in the United States as of that date. 406. The only states that don't have one are Alaska, North Dakota, Mississippi, and Maine. Every other state has at least one. I think California has the most with 66. So it seems like it's kind of a popular idea. So I'm not too alone, but it also still feels like we're in this sort of war space between you either learn by doing or you learn by some sort of academic progression. So that's what I want to talk about today. And this will depend a little bit on time. A lot of times people say, oh, I'm going to go really fast. We're going to have time for questions at the end. Here's the truth. I have absolutely no idea how long this talk is going to take. So what I did is I put a branching point in the middle, so we'll decide how far we want to go. But I'm going to start by doing what I call teaching the School of Hard Knocks, which is sort of how I learned game design and how I've transitioned that into a learning model of game design. And then we'll choose where we want to go beyond there. My first job as a game designer came in 1994. I was the level designer. I designed all the levels on this reasonably crappy first-person shooter called Disruptor. Actually, the levels were really good, but the rest of the game this is actually true. The levels were pretty good. However, the storyline, this is when I worked for Universal Studios, and someone decided it'd be a really good idea to have someone from the studio, like, write the script and film it and direct it and all that stuff, and it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible and embarrassing. I hope no one ever sees it. Like, if this is ever remastered, it needs to be remastered way out the story of this. But there was no such thing as a game designer in 1994. It wasn't a career. So I had to carry a different title. My title was producer, because producer at least was something you could understand, especially if you worked in a Hollywood studio, which I did. And it actually took 5 years before I could get a credit as a game designer. most of the people who were working in games prior to that, you had to be either a coder, which I can't do, you have to be an artist, which I'm even worse at, or I guess that means you must be a producer because at least I can pay you. So it took a long time to be considered a game designer. And what's more, being a game designer kind of stinks a lot of the time. Everyone who you work with thinks they could do your job better than you, and you must be lazy or worthless. And I'm not quite sure why you're here. You mostly just get in the way and ask us to do things that you then change your mind about. That's kind of the experience of being a game designer. So you go through this for 5, 10, 15 years before you finally start getting some respect. And then somebody says, hey, I'm going to teach students to do your job in a year. And you go, yeah, right. And this is what it looks like. I just Googled this last night. If I type in game designer, this is the first things that come up on Google. Those are all paid, of course. They're all game design schools, right? So there has been a certain amount of resistance inside the industry to this idea. When I first started at Electronic Arts, I had actually befriended Tracy Fullerton, who is the person who heads all of the game design programs at USC. And I thought, what would be really cool is I could bring Tracy over to Electronic Arts, and she could give a talk about how do you do game design, how they teach young people to be game developers at USC, and that would be really cool. And Tracy said, that sounds like a great idea. And she came to EA, and it was like one of the worst experiences of my life. There was not a lot of generosity in the room toward that idea, put it that way. The words, you are all special snowflakes, I'm sure, came up. It was not actually a very fun experience. So that means that there's a lot of kind of institutional resistance to this idea, and I think I kind of divide it into two categories that sound similar but are actually very different. And I'm going to start with the second one here, which is to be perceived as credible. So if I'm going to train someone and say, I've trained this person to be a game developer, what do I need to train that person in to be perceived, if they're going to go do this as a craft in the future, as credible? And it kind of comes down to this. I need to teach you things like teamwork. I need to teach you these are the different roles on the team in game development. This is how we develop the game software. This is how we test it. We do user testing, all that kind of thing. This is, for those of us that have been studying education for a while, so we would call 21st century skills, right? I don't know if who's heard this term, 21st century skills? Okay, yeah, it's a very, very popular idea right now in K-12 education. We should be teaching children 21st century skills, things like this, collaboration, cooperation, problem solving. Or as one of my friends in education likes to say, 15th century skills. But anyway, these are the things that we teach because that's what the people in the industry will value, and that we can say, okay, look, we've prepared these people for that career. And that's cool, but I don't think it's actually very interesting, even though what you see on the right here is an article that I wrote along with Mark Cerny, my mentor, that actually got quite a bit of notoriety and is still used in sort of production methods. So just to talk a little bit about what that production method is, because who here would like to go into games at some point in your life? All right. Excellent. I know an excellent master's degree program, by the way. This is something you might hear about at some point, this something called the Cerny method. We just call it method. So we'll attach Mark Cerny's name to it, because his name's way cooler than mine. It basically says we divide the creation of a game into 4 distinct segments. Ideation, what might I do? Pre-production, what might that look like? Production, let's build it. And then lately I talk about also post-production, which is, I guess it's still broken, let's fix it. Or let's try to make money from it, if that's the other perspective. So I'm the creator of this. It's still totally a big deal. I'm the co-creator of that. But I still don't actually find it that interesting. I think it's a sort of floor of credibility that we have to have in order to be a game development program that's going to be taken seriously by the game development community. But it actually isn't that interesting. So this is the other bit, which is what I think is credible. what I think is actually interesting going forward. So this was the part where I had to start reverse engineering what I know about game design. I've spent 20-some years being a game designer. How does that work? How is that something other than just intuitive? And it's kind of interesting because I actually, if you were to look at my whole history, I put up some studios there, but I actually spent a lot of time working independently and as a consultant. So game design consultancy is you get on an airplane, you go somewhere, you walk in, someone says, please play this game for about 15 minutes and tell me exactly what's wrong with it and how to fix it. So you do, right? Which means two things. First is, I have to really understand well how to fix games. And two is, I have to make those people believe that it's magic. And that no one else could figure it out. Because if anyone else could figure it out, they wouldn't have to pay me the absurd amount of money I'm going to charge you for this. So I had to become this magician, and I was sort of incentivized to make it seem incomprehensible. Magic. Would anyone like to see a magic trick? I need a volunteer. Who's the volunteer? I see one up there. Was that you? Come on down. What's this? For a yes, PlayStation. Specifically a PlayStation what? I don't know, that's much bad. I should have, thank you. I should have brought my Xbox controller. I'd like you to hold out your hand. I'd like you to show us, if you could, you're playing a driving game. Hold it up like this so everyone can see. You go around the corner to the right. That's the right. There you go. Now you're going around the corner to the left. Now you're going straight. Now you're going right again. Really hard to the right. All right, excellent. Now here's the thing. Thank you. Stay here. A lot of times you might talk to someone who's building a driving game and they'll go, I don't understand why people keep driving off the road to the left. They keep veering off to the left instead of going straight, especially people who don't play a lot of driving games. They hand them the controller and they keep driving off the road to the left. Can anyone figure out why that might be true? The lever's not broken. The direction will go on the left. It's on the left-hand side. These are good guesses. So that would be like torquing with your hand somehow? The right trigger? No. That's a good idea. Left or right hand dominant? No. Do it again. You can figure it out. The gyro? Not the gyro. This happened in the UK too. It's agnostic to where the steering wheel is on the car. So here's the funny thing. When these controllers were made, can you remember what the Nintendo 64 controller looked like? What did that look like? Can we describe it? I get to do this. Nintendo 64 controller looked like this. Right. And where was the analog joystick goes right here. Now, what's different about that controller versus this one? That one is like this. What's the difference? I'll give you a hint. It's about 45 degrees. So it turns out, thank you, the hinge of your thumb moves your thumb at an angle something like this. This reads 0 straight up. The player presses 0 like that. So they end up overcorrecting the wrong direction. And all you have to do is go into the code that reads this controller. You're done. Thank you for my magic trick. Thank you. And just offset it by about 30 degrees. Clockwise. And suddenly people aren't driving off the road anymore. They aren't jumping in the wrong direction. They aren't kicking the ball at the wrong player. Whatever game you're happy making, fixed it. And do I tell them how I did that? Absolutely not. I went to a programmer who was sitting in a corner and said, you know what does the controller input? She says, yeah. And I go, here's what you're going to do. You're just going to take that and rotate it 30 degrees. She says, why? I said, shut up. And then they go, you know what? We did another play test and it's perfect. What did you do? And I go, acting. That'll be $1,000. That's what it means to be a game designer when you want to make a lot of money, right? You got to learn all this stuff to be acting. But yes, now I'm going to go teach it to a bunch of undergraduates. And this is actually what happened to me. So 2.5 years ago or so, Tracy Fortune called me again and she said, will you teach my class, which is sort of the 101 class for game development and game design at USC? And I said, sure. I have no idea how to do that, but sure. Fortunately, Tracy has a book, and he gave the book. It helps a lot. But ultimately, it meant that I had to go and reverse engineer all of these ideas that I had in my head that would sort of outcome in this, create this magical outcome so that I could teach it. I also had to believe that that was not unethical. So that's sort of the fundamental part of this whole talk. So here we go. Are you ready? And this is going to go really fast. Okay, this is a really, really distilled version. The first thing I need to do is define what I think a video game is. Every single person you talk to who teaches video games has a different definition. If they don't, they cheated. So this is mine. And I'm going to call out some of the parts I think that are interesting. First of all, it's an interactive system. If you can't play with it, it's not a game. It has loops of activity. Everything you do in a game, you do more than once. If you did it only once, that's not a game anymore. That's some sort of story experience for us. It's designed to create an experience that doesn't exist except in the head of the player, and I also like to include in the heart of the player. Because the best games don't just operate on your head, they also operate on your heart. That's my definition. That's what I use for starters for all my students. So now, let's look. What's an interactive system? Simple loop that goes like this. You have a state, the current state of the game. The player performs an action. That action has an outcome, which we can now describe as the new state of the game. Keep doing this, and that's how you have a game. So here's 3 examples. This is not that complicated. So chess state is basically the board and all the positions of the pieces on the board. One more very important piece of state in chess. What turn is it? Yeah. Oh, the rules. But then we'll just consider the state for the moment. In a sport, you have the field, the ball, the whatever, the crowd, the home or away, the current score. Those can actually get pretty deep. Or in Angry Birds, you have, the stack of stuff. And how many birds you have left. And this is the state. The player is going to take an action. That action is going to have an outcome. And there you go. There's an interactive system. It's not that complicated. So it's a game system. Now, this works pretty well. This tells you how you should build a game. I should start with a state machine. I should have that state machine be able to be modified by players. And when that modification occurs, I should change the state. So it actually is nice from a conceptual level. It's not very useful from a game design level. So I add another one, which is a different way of looking at it. Kind of the same thing. Affordance is a term that comes from the world of kind of product design or basically user experience. This is coined by a guy named Donald Norman, who wrote probably my favorite design book ever, called The Design of Everyday Things. It just means when I look at a thing, what does that thing seem like it should do? A classic Norman example is you look at a door, it has one of these bars like this, and the bar has kind of a thing that compresses on it. What do you think you should do with that door? Push on it. If it has a handle that juts out like this, what do you think you should do? Pull on it. How many times have you seen the one with the handle that you're actually supposed to push? Right? That's called stupid. So that bad affordance actually is the term that we like to use. Okay, so then action is the same. The player's going to take some kind of action depending on what sort of input device you might have. Very, very important. Their actions' effect on the state must have discernible feedback. And this is separate from affordance. This is where most of the games fail when they're being built. The most common type of feedback you can think of is it exploded. So the state now effect of that is it's gone, but the feedback is